Hey guys, I'm Chef D Max. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today, a super simple salad dressing that everybody loves, an oregano vinaigrette. Now, a lot of times you'll see the Greek version of this, and I don't want to call mine a Greek version because I put a little bit of Calabrian chili in there for spice. But you could put really anything in there you'd like. So stay with me. Click subscribe if you're not doing that right now, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And click that bell, and I'll send you new stuff I have coming up. So see you back in a second. Okay, we're back in the kitchen. We're about to do oregano vinaigrette here. Simple, super easy. Put it in a mason jar, have this around your house. First, I'm gonna take an onion. You can use a shallot, actually is nicer, but I know a lot of times people see a shallot and they're like, oop, I can't do that recipe, it's got a shallot. So I'm gonna show you an onion, okay? But in all sincerity, onion, shallot, if you wanted to use little baby green onions, you could do that as well. But you just want an onion style product in this. Okay, and we want to mince it as small as possible. So what I've done is cut the onion down many times, right, straight, and then I come back and I cut it this way as well. And you would do the same thing with a shallot too. You see, I'm cutting this. If you want to do a dice, you're only going horizontal like 4 times. This I went horizontal like 8 times. And what it does is when I cut this now and I shave it like this, you guys can see, look how small those shavings are, right? And you're not going to get that from, really anything else but using good knife skills. So it's pretty simple. You've seen me dice onions on the channel many times, and you probably wouldn't need to look at more than 1 or 2 videos before you would see me cutting an onion for something. They pretty much go, onions go in everything. So it's a good skill to have and look at. So here, I'm going to take these perfectly minced onions, okay? And I'm going to get this started in my pan. I'm going to get this on, and I'm going to put some nice olive oil in here. I don't want to go super hot with the temperature. Our goal here is not to saute these in a way that we're going to get color or caramelize them. We're going to take these shallots like this, you can see, or these onions, excuse me. They look like shallots because they're cut so tiny, right? And I'm just going to stick those in the oil like this. And what we're looking to do is extract the sweet flavor out of these onions, and we want to take out some of the sharpness. And by cooking them like this, it's going to take out the sharpness of the onion and leave you the sweet part of the onion. So now I've got garlic cloves here. I've got 4 of them. So or 5 actually. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off the ends of them like this, okay? And I'm going to smash them, okay, like this, okay? Okay, once I've smashed them good, I'm going to come back and scrape them. So like this, okay? Scraping them just to break them down, making sure they're really flat, not big pieces, right? What you can do to making your scrapping a little bit more workable is go ahead and mince them a little bit. And then go back and scrape them again. Scrape them good. Okay. And then we're flattening them. Now, if you wanted to use a press, you can just use a press. I do this to get them nice and flat. And then I come back and I julienne them like this. And then I'm going to make sure. I just want to have really small cuts. That's all. Okay. So we've got about, it looks, if you're buying already paste or you're doing something silly like that, which I don't think you should do, and for those of you watching a cooking channel on how to cook and not follow recipes, one of the things I would first tell you is use fresh garlic. Peel your own garlic, okay? Don't buy the already peeled even. And take this and chop it up small, okay? Now if you have some little equipment that's going to make that happen better for you or faster for you, then use it. That's fine. That's what you paid for it for. Okay, I have like little scraper plates and all kinds of things. So with this little chopped up garlic like this, we're going to leave this to the side. Now, I'm going to stir my garlic in here. Now I want to turn it down a little because I don't want to cook it too hard. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. Okay, we're not going to waste any of that oil. We're going to use all of this oil. Okay, so with this, I'm going to take my peppers I was talking to you about, these Calabrian chilies. So let me put them on here so you guys can see what they look like. Take a look at that, right? Beautiful chili, bright red. They've been cured in a little bit of oil. Okay, and don't let them deceive you though. Ultra spicy, probably way more spicy than a jalapeno. So you don't want to use a lot. Now, the seeds in this they use for the spicy chili seeds, like when you're eating Italian food a lot of times. So you get the point, right? So if you don't have those, you can put in a teaspoon of chili powder, okay? So I'm going to throw these in here too, the chili and the garlic to cook. Now, I don't want to stir them around yet because what I'm looking to do actually is let it sit up there. I just put it in there so it can start warming up, but I don't want it to saute hard yet. I want it to just let it sit on the top there. And while I'm cutting this thyme. Now, sorry, not thyme. It looks like thyme, and that's why I got confused for a second there. It's actually oregano, and it's really good oregano. So this is like a small, kind of Greek-style oregano. Not like a Mexican oregano that tends to be a little bit thicker and fatter. Let me turn this down 1 second. These are right from my garden, so I brought them in. I washed those up really nice. And then with this, I'm going to mince these up like this. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is because these little oregano, because they're so small, I don't pick the leaves from the stem. I cut the stem too. The stem's very tender and very light. But with oregano is a hardy herb, like rosemary or thyme, right? Oregano is a much more hardy herb. And so by cooking it like this, you're gonna bring out the flavor. It's just gonna make it much more palatable. Like you guys have tasted rosemary before. It's better when it's been grilled, that kind of thing, right? So, all right, here we go. I'm gonna do that. And now I'm gonna toss this around in the oil. And I'm gonna put a little bit more oil because I want to go a little bit longer before I deglaze this. So this is a method of making any kind of vinaigrette for a salad where you're using harsher spices, maybe like you're using like shallots and like using if you're making a sherry shallot vinaigrette, you just use the sherry vinegar and you saute the shallots like this and then put your Dijon mustard in your vinegar right in this. And that's what I'm going to do. You don't put the bulk of your good olive oil in until the end, until it's after it's cooled down. But the beginning olive oil like this is for cooking like this. Now next, we're going to go ahead and take a tablespoon of mustard. We're going to add that in there too. That can be any Dijon mustard is fine, right? And I'm going to spread that out. Just toast that a little bit. Really not imperative to cook that, obviously. All we're looking to do now is kind of soften up these hard herbs. So if you're making, an herb with oregano, it's a harder like that, it needs to be softened. And then the shallots are going to be softened. They're going to impart their flavor. And the garlic as well. Think about the garlic. Raw garlic in a dressing is not what you're looking for. So with this, I'm taking nice red wine vinegar. So you want to use a good red wine vinegar. Look for a nice one in your store. And I'm going to deglaze that with my red wine vinegar. Now you can see that vinaigrette at this point has stopped, I'm going to turn it back up a little so it can simmer, right? I didn't want to look at, we didn't put any color, right? You notice that we didn't toast the garlic really hard. We're just looking to softly saute it and get it going to break down these flavors. Now I'm going to put some salt, probably a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to put black pepper, and I'm going to let this cook. What we're going to do is we're going to let the acidity go down in this too, right? As it cooks, right? I put a lot of black pepper too. It's very Mediterranean. Okay, a lot of black pepper. And then we're going to let this cook for just, I mean, obviously this is a small amount here we're doing for home, so it doesn't take long to cook at all. It's actually almost done. So I'm going to taste, basically it's going to be really bright flavor-wise. Be careful when you're standing above. The fumes from vinegar can be very overwhelming. That's really nice. So what I'm looking for in that is I want the garlic and I want the onion to be softened and relaxed, and I want them to be giving me flavor, but I don't want sharp flavor of raw garlic, which it's not going to have because it's been cooking here for a few minutes now. So that's what we're looking for. We're not looking to make this a paste or anything like this. We're just cooking it at that point, and we're done. So what we do at that point is I'm going to pour it right here. I'll take it out and I'll just pour it in my pan here. You can see. Okay, I don't want to miss any of this stuff. Okay, so I get it all. Okay, and what I want to do is just cool this down. So we'll stir it, just let it sit. So we'll let that sit for 4 or 5 minutes, and while we're doing that, I'm going to add some fresh parsley to it. So parsley is one is more of a delicate herb, right? It doesn't need to break down, right? Because it's already soft. Italian flat leaf parsley is already soft on its own. It's going to add this beautiful kind of garden flavor to this vinaigrette, and we're not going to have to worry about cooking it at all. So, do you have to cook the oregano? I think that it gets better flavor personally. Some people don't cook it in there. Some people just dice their oregano in there. Oregano is a very strong powering herb. So if you have it out in your garden, what can you do with it? One of the good things that you can do with it is dry it. So you'll see a lot of people will pick it gradually, because you do want to pick it as the course that it's growing, because that'll keep it growing and keep it vibrant. By you keep picking it, it'll keep trying to grow back. By doing that, you're going to have a lot of oregano, and it doesn't take a lot to make these dishes, because you're looking at 2 tablespoons of chopped oregano we put in that, and that's going to make a salad for 6 to 8 people. This can make enough dressing for 12 people. So what you want to do is just take the oregano, separate it when you're not going to make something fresh with it. And it's good for marinating. You can marinate it on chicken with lemon and olive oil, or you can do something like this, a cooked salad dressing with it, or if you prefer to do a raw one, you can. Then you can take the rest, and I actually just dry it outside in the sun, lay it on a sheet pan, put it on the sun, or just put it in your oven if you're worried about putting stuff outside. But usually oregano is not something things are going to bother. But if you want, you can just pick the leaves, clean the leaves, pick the leaves, put them in your oven on a sheet pan, and let them sit over there for a couple nights until they're super dry. When they're dry, then you just put them in a mason jar, and then you've got dried oregano for dressings and stuff like that. For a lot of dry cooking, whether it comes to pasta sauces or you want to make soups, dried oregano is really nice. So with this, I'm going to just take and julienne this parsley up. This is how you julienne. Thinly slice, fingers tucked under so you don't cut them off. And you just rock the knife, right? And you don't lift the knife up above your knuckles, because that's the danger zone. That's when you're going to get yourself in trouble and cut yourself. So if you stay low like this, you end up with a great chop. And then I'm going to go back, and I'll just chop it this way a few times. Okay? And that's it. Now, what I'll do with that is I'm just going to dump that right in my cooled down vinaigrette. Okay, let me clean this board and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cleaned up a little bit here. I want to show you this dressing. So I tossed this in. Now, because we've used red wine, I want to still add some fresh citrusiness to this. It's a very Mediterranean, and on the, even whether you wanted to call this Italian or Greek oregano dressing, either one of them are going to use lemon, because lemon would have been one of the main kind of citrusy things you would have growing on the slopes of the coast. And with that, I'm going to stick 1 full lemon in here. Okay, so it's going to have a lot of acidity of lemon, right? So you've got red wine vinegar was your base that we deglazed with, and we didn't reduce it out, so it's going to have a nice balance of red wine vinegar and lemon in that. Okay, and then I'm going to put a lot more olive oil. So on this, we're going to use probably a quarter cup of your red wine vinegar, and then we're going to use 1 lemon, and then you're going to use half a cup of olive oil. So you can see it's a lot of olive oil, and that's the way it's supposed to be. It's going to have the flavor of this wonderful herbs in there, your shallots, all your garden vegetables. Beautiful shallots. I've sometimes in the oregano vinaigrette, I've put minced up fennel and then cooked it really good, like with the onions, so it was soft. The only problem with the fennel was if the fennel gets too hard, you know, when it's raw, it's too hard. But let's take this fork, actually, would make it much better whisk. You can whisk it if you want, it's just going to get stuck in the whisk, and you don't really need to. We're not looking to blend this. We want this to be a vinaigrette, so like this. So take a look at this. That's what you're looking for, right? A chunky vinaigrette. It doesn't need anything. It's got a perfect amount of salt. I got lucky, I think, right on the spot. If you tasted it and it needed a little salt, put a little salt. It's got nice pepperiness, so I know I don't need any more pepper. It's got the perfect amount. It's got the perfect balance of oil and vinegar and lemoniness and herbalness. I think it's right on the money. So that's it. Super simple. So what can you use this for? Anything. My favorite is to use this with kind of great summer vegetables like cucumber, tomato, peppers, fennel, things like that from the garden. You're going to dice them up. You're going to make like almost like a chunky salad with those. But you could put this on romaine. You could put it on mixed greens. Bib lettuce would be really good with some bacon on there too. Oh, it's got a million things. Also, it's really like a Mediterranean vinaigrette. So you could stick it on chicken. You could grill the chicken and then take it. And after chicken are done, like when you feel they're almost done, let them pull off. Put this vinaigrette on them and let them cool with that vinaigrette until they're fully cooked, and then they kind of soak up that. You could pre-marinate them with that. It'd be great on a piece of steaky fish like tuna or swordfish in the summertime, but really nice vinaigrette. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm not going to use all this now, so I'm probably going to take some of this and just put it right in my jar. So it makes right there, makes like 1 half quart of vinaigrette, and that's it. So we take that, put this in my fridge, and I have a beautiful, beautiful oregano vinaigrette for the next 10 days. That's how long that'll last. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Give me a thumbs up if you did. If you have any questions about it, put them down there in the comments, and I'll see you back soon in the kitchen. I'm Chef Dean Max.